Welcome back to another GDS video for WinBidPro version 15. And now we're getting close to the end of the tabs in the drawing window. So let's talk about tabs 16 and 17, which would be alternate vertical and exclude tabs. And there's a good situation that these come in handy for. So let's go ahead and add a new elevation or two. So we'll go to the end. I can hit next elevation, and we'll call this, what are we on? Sixth. Sixth elevation, and I'll just abbreviate in that one. So let's make this simple. Let's put two panels in, oh, I'm sorry, not quantity of two, still quantity of one. Two panels, we'll call it just 60 inches wide, 120 inches tall. And then we're going to do another elevation. So these are actually going to make up a corner. So the seventh elevation is going to be the other part of the corner that mates up to the sixth. So let's call that one three panels, call it 90 inches by 120. So now let's say these made up together. So the left jamb on this last elevation made up with the right jamb on the sixth elevation. So in that case, we're going to be using a corner post in one and excluding the jamb in the other. So let's go ahead and mix this up a little, and we'll say we're going to exclude the left jamb from the seventh elevation. So all I need to do is go to the Exclude tab, click Add, and then I'm just going to take my mouse and click on the member that needs to be excluded. So when I click on that, it tells me what I clicked on. So it's wall jamb left, and our little code for it is LJ for left jamb. So now I'm going to click Update Drawing, and you'll see how it changes to a dashed line. So that tells us on the drawing that we've excluded that part. So your glass is still going to remain the same because it needs to know the boundaries for the glass. But as far as the material goes, that's been removed from the bid. So no pricing, no cutting for that left jamb. So now let's go back to the sixth elevation and then go to our Alt Vert tab. Now this is the one we're going to apply a different right jamb. And to do that, we're going to say, this is back when we have to tell it what vertical number. So remember, the right jamb is always the same number as the number of panels, so that's 2. And this is where we can specify a width. So let's say it's a 4-inch corner post. And then I would say Add to Drawing. Now this is different than most things because it's asking us what part numbers are required. So there's a list of up to 10 different parts you can add, and this is where I'm going to right click in this box here and pick a post. So I can type the word post, and here in my description filter column, and it's going to filter down to their corner post parts. So let's just say I want this one here, the 400-11. So I insert that, and I can put a cover in too if I need to, whatever parts up to 10 you need for that corner. So you're basically applying all the parts to one elevation, and you're not using any parts for the other elevation. Now another thing, so let's cover. So add as many parts as you need to. We hit OK, and you'll see that it put in that 4-inch post. Now, if you remember, let's go back to that seventh elevation. On the left side, we actually just have 1 3/4 inches. So let's say we need that to be a 4-inch just for sizing purposes, but we're still excluding it. But just so our glass sizes come out right and everything mates up correctly, we actually want to tell it that what's going to be there in the other elevation is really 4 inches. So to do that, we need to go back to our elevation framing system screen that configures the framing system. So I can go to the Layout tab, or remember, we can go back over here to the menu and pick it from there. But this time, let's just pick it from the Layout tab. So this is going to affect just the framing system for this elevation, and I am going to tell it my left jamb is 4 inches. So I don't need to do an alternate vertical and then exclude it. I can just tell the framing system that the jamb is 4 inches. So I'm doing that. This is where it reminds me to probably redraw because it didn't update the drawing. So I'm going to say redraw. So now I've got, so what it's done is it's equalized all the other lights so that given the overall elevation width, I have a 4-inch post on the corner, but I still have my 1 3/4 throughout the rest of the elevation. So that's something you can do just to make sure everything matches up and figures out correctly in cutting and size. So we've got our, let's go back to the 6th elevation. We've got our corner post here that we added using alternate vertical. And if I never need to get back to the parts for that, for the alternate vertical, I can actually click in this little column here that says click to edit parts and click this little button that has 3 dots. And that brings up that little parts window again. So I can add or delete or change the parts in that screen. The other thing you could have done is just delete the alternate vertical and add it back in, but that's how you would edit the parts. And then the exclude's very simple. And remember that was on our next elevation, so it should show up here. There we go. So it shows what we've excluded, our left jamb, and the status is excluded. So it's pretty simple to do those two things. You can actually exclude anything. I can go and click add, and if I didn't want this little sill piece here, I would click that. And oh, actually, it's excluding the subsill, so I don't want to do that. So let's take our mouse and click up here. So until I hit update drawing, it's not going to actually exclude it. So you'll notice when we click the head, or if I click actually the sill part, I can zoom in if I need a little more control. So I can say zoom 200%, or remember I can click on the drawing, I can click on it and scroll in with my mouse. So if I do that, then I can go ahead and take my mouse and click on the head. Whichever one I click on, it's going to show what I've selected. But remember how I clicked the subsill before? If I want to click the actual sill, then you can zoom in a little bit more and you can have better, better access to it. So now if I say I want to exclude all of the sill parts, update the drawing, you'll notice it's excluded the whole sill. So it's real simple, but you can exclude any of the parts that are drawn in a drawing, and it'll show you here. Now, it's obvious if you put in something uh, like a horizontal, then just don't put the horizontal in because there's no need to exclude something if you have the choice of putting it in or not. So same thing goes with a door or something like that. Just take the door out. You don't have to exclude it. But for things that are just drawn automatically, because it's always got head jambs, sills, and verticals, then you can exclude individual things. So that's pretty much it. That's it for this video. There's going to be one more video on the glass tab, and that'll cover the whole drawing process for the WinBidPro software. Thanks.